all to Basic TDL Tutorials Session 4. In Session 4, we would be discussing about actions in TDL, user-defined fields, and validations and controls. Actions in TDL. TDL is an event-driven language. Events can be triggered through keyboard, shortcuts, or through a mouse click. In an event, some predefined actions get executed. For example, when you press a Control A in a voucher screen, it accepts the entry. You press Escape and it quits the form. You press F1 and a screen opens for you to select the company. So actions are activators of a specific task with a definite result. An action always originates from a user interface. A button or a key allows the programmer to associate an action against an event. An event can trigger a series of actions. Could be an action or could be multiple actions. Each action can further contain or be a chain of more actions. So the user clicks on the mouse or the keyboard, an event occurs, triggers the action. This triggering of action could be more than one and passed to the system, and system based on the action specified for that event is returned. The action list can be multiple and the key or the button definition allows the programmer to associate an action against an event. So when I say Control A, that is the action and the event is to accept the voucher entry. Actions is identified by its name like create, display, field next, execute, print. Depending upon the kind of action it is, there are certain optional parameters for few actions. Actions can be classified into two broad categories: object-specific actions and global actions. Global actions are not specific to any user interface object. For example, when we say display, what does it display? It displays a report. When I say create, it creates an object and it opens a report. Execute, alter, menu. So when we write menu, it opens a menu. They perform the action specified irrespective of the user interface. The global actions are performed on a menu or a report. Global actions can be originated from menu, as we have already seen the menu in which we were writing display. At the menu definition, we were writing action display. So display is an action. So we've already seen display. At button level, we have also created a button and we have seen there is an attribute called action : and there is a series of actions available, and this action can be global actions. And at field level, you can specify an action. And whatever action is specified at this, the global actions, these actions can be performed only on report or menu. For example, create, report name, then display, report name, print, report name, alter, report name, menu, menu name. So global actions are not specific to any user interface object. Global actions can be originated by menu, button, key or a field. Global actions are performed on a report or a menu. Create, display, alter, print, print collection, display collection. All these are a global actions. Object-specific actions are actions which can act upon a specific user interface object. So when you talk about user interface objects, this could be form, line, field. For example, when you press tab, it moves to the right of the field. You press down arrow key, it moves to the next line. So these are object-specific actions. So for example, line down is a part-specific action. Since part owns multiple lines, an individual line cannot move the current focus to the subsequent lines. So only part moves the focus, and based on that, the actions are performed. So object-specific actions are actions specific to any user interface object. Object-specific actions can be originated at menu, form, line and field. So global actions can be at menu, button and field. Global actions are at menu, button, field. Object-specific actions are at menu, form, line and field. Object-specific actions are performed on relevant interface object only. So they can perform on the interface they are associated to. Like for example, line up, line down, menu down, field next, form accept, form reject. We'll come across few of these actions. It's a huge list of actions, so very difficult to discuss all the actions. However, again we have a series of action keys created. You can refer to the keys.500 file that we have in a Tally developer. Action can be associated at various levels, and that is menu, button, form, line and field. Actions, as we have discussed, the global action can be associated at menu, button and field, and object specific actions can be at menu, form, line and field. So on and whole, the actions can be associated at menu, button, form, line and field. Now discussing about the action execution sequence. As we have stated, TDL is non-procedural by intent. However, the language within itself understands on how to perform various things. Hence, the action execution sequence is maintained. So, whenever an event occurs, the search for the originator starts from the report to the field. Now, what is an originator? Originator is the one that originates the action, whether the action is where the action is specified or where the key is specified. If the same key is available at multiple definitions, say field 1 is also having that and line 1 is also having the same, then the lowest in the hierarchy gets the highest precedence. So if line 1 also has key 1, and if the line 1 also has the key enter and field 1 also has the key enter. So first the search will start from report, will go till the field. Okay, line can also do enter, field can also do enter, but in the hierarchy the lowest one gets the precedence. So the field key enter will get executed. So for object specific actions, the search for the executor object will start from the field level and progress till the reports level. Now where the key is specified, say at the field. Now there is an action specified at this key. Now which object uh, can work on this, can actually perform this action, that search starts from the bottom. So now field has the enter key and it has an action. So now that action will start, we will start searching from that particular key level and will go to the level to the report to search which interface object can perform that action. Once the executor is found, the one which can perform the action is executed. Buttons and keys, as we have spoken about, can be associated at report, form, line and field. Being very specific, buttons can be specified only at form level. Keys can be associated at report, form, line and field. Parts level, key does not exist. Action is always executed with respect to two contexts, originator and the executor. The originator is the one that originates the action. That is the menu, form, line or field. The executor is the object on which the action will be performed or executed. Just taking a small example, we press a down arrow key. The event is passed from the current report to the parts that are mentioned, to the other interfaces that are mentioned in the report. That is, from the report it goes to the form, goes to the part, goes to the lines and the keys. The key could be possibly associated at say line level. If the activated key is found at the line level, it searches further if any of the lower ones have this same key. The lowest, that the field level will get the highest precedence, the key associated, and that will get executed. In that case, the originator will be the field. And whatever action is specified, depending on which object level or action it is, that becomes the executor. So we have the global actions: menu, create, display, alter, create collection, display collection and alter collection. So that is what we have already seen. We have seen menu and display. We will be further seeing other global actions shortly. Then there is a huge list of object specific actions. So there is form accept, form reject, form cancel, form delete. All these actions will be performed on form. Line up, line down, line end, line home will be performed on line. Menu up, menu down, menu reject, menu accept, all this will work on menu. Then we have part level actions like part home, part end, part page up. So again, this will be performed on the part level. We have field up, field down, field next, field pre, field accept, all this will work on field. Then we have explore, display object, alter object. These kind of actions will be performed on line objects. So there's a very huge list of these actions that you can discover during your further working of your TDL. However, these are frequently used object-specific actions that we have mentioned. Now we will write a report using display collection. We have already written reports related to display action. So in case there is anything related to create or alter, you will have to write the same way. However, there's a little difference in the create collection, display collection and alter collection compared to what we have for display. So since we have done the display, now we will work on the display action. So basically what does this action do is, this action first displays a collection. Based on your selection, it allows you to display a report. Wondering where we have this in Tally? In fact, all the reports that we have in Tally is using this capability. You go to accounts info ledgers display. When you click on display, first it gives you the list of ledgers. When you select the ledger, it gives you the output of that particular ledger, right? So that's how it works. And to do that, there are 3 new attributes introduced at collection level. We have trigger, variable and report. So now let us just write a report on this. We will make use of this action, display action, and we will display collection, and we will try to fetch the list of ledgers, right? So quickly open your Tally developer. We will create a new project, and the project name would be Actions in TDL. Location, we'll give the location. Now we will give some meaningful names. Please ensure we are now going towards making more professional TDLs. Hence, we would be only using meaningful names. We will add a new text file. The name of the text file would be ledger listing. We would be creating a ledger listing report, and we can do another thing is, and save this actions and TDL this. So before we do this, we will create a new the main text file in which we will include all the files, all the basic things related to our project, the project file and the adding of the menu. All those things we'll do in the main file. So we will add a new file here. We will write main file, save, and to this main file we will say include ledger listing.txt, and at the top we'll give a comment. This is to include text files to our project. Now this is to add new menu item to display menu and provide additional reports within it. You see, we are going to give very precise comments. Now what we will do is, first we will execute our Tally. Tally is executed, and Tally is open, and now we'll select a company is ABC Company Limited. And now what we will do, in this display menu we will add our new menu. So what do we look for? We will look for this text display menu. Now going to Tally Developer, Control D, find what? Display menu, and it's a text, so we give it within quotes in default TDL, and we say find search. Here we get the list of the searches it has done. So far we have just got one search. We got just one search, and that's the title we have. So this is the menu that we are going to change. And to modify a menu you have to say hash, and to ensure that we are at the right menu we will just change the title and check whether we are at the right menu, and we'll change the name to Tally. F, product and features, F4, refreshed. Yes, the menu has changed, so we are at the right menu. Now to this menu we will add a new menu, and we'll add a new menu just above the quit. What do you want to do? Add. What do you want to add? Key item. Where do you want to add? Before allow see quit. What do you want to add? Actions in TDL. What is the shortcut? We'll take it as I. What should it do? It should give a menu, actions in TDL. Now we will define this menu. Now to this menu we will say key item, ledger lists, L. Generally we use write display, right? However, there is a small change here. We will write display collection, and instead of stating the name of the collection, the name of the report, we will be mentioning the name of a collection, ledger name collection. When writing this collection word is not important, but this would be very useful for us as a beginner. You will understand where this definition hits. So when you write an action display collection, it accepts the name of a collection. I repeat, ledger name collection. We can just simply write collection. This is also fairly okay. Display collection takes the name of a collection. This is name of a collection. As a beginner, what we will do is we will mention the collection as the term, so that we know that this is for the collection name. So now we will create our collection, because you see, before we actually get the ledger report, we get the list of that ledgers. That is nothing but a collection. So collection name. Now what do you want to show in this collection? I want to show ledger. Okay. Now, if you look in tally, accounts info, ledgers, display, where is this collection shown? Now you know there's an interface, this is a report, this is a form has part has lines, and lines have field. Where is this collection displayed? The collection has been displayed, the pop-up list has been displayed in a field. Obviously now you know we have two lines and each line having one field, right? So now where is this collection displayed? The collection is displayed at a field. So we write field, ledger, name, list. The attribute, now obviously there has to be that connectivity. We're talking about object contexts, object associations in session 3. So if a data object has to get connected to interface object, there has to be an attribute. So the attribute to show this collection as the pop-up list in this field is a table, and we provide our collection name. But didn't we learn that a field cannot exist without a line? Can a field exist without a line? No. So we need a line definition, and line contains field, can a line exist without a part? A line has to be contained into a part, right? So part declares, we'll be using this line. Can part be independent? No. Part has to be in a form. Can form be independent? No. It has to be in a report. Can report be independent? Yes, the report can be independent. But although here we have stated that this collection will be displayed in this field as a table, that is the connectivity from one side. Like we know that we have paid our income tax, right? So that is one way information. But until and unless we do not file our income tax returns and we don't get an acknowledgement mail, that entire cycle is not completed. If you do not file your income tax returns, how will the government know that you have filed your income tax? So this is filing your income tax. Until unless you do not get the acknowledgement, how do you know the government has accepted this? So you need to have the second way around, right? You have connected your data collection with your interface, but your data collection should also know now that it has to call this report, correct? Because this is the triggering point for our menu. This is the trigger point for a menu. So how does it know that? So the attribute to identify that the collection will trigger report. So let us just revisit this entire code, how we have built the code so far. We added a key item, ledger list, hotkey is L, display collection. Which collection? Ledger name collection. That is a control left click that I did to come to go to the definition. Now what do you want to do? I want to show list of ledger. Now I have a data object. To do any kind of manipulation to data object, it has to be connected to an interface object. When we visit our tally, where is this list associated? The list is associated at a field level. So we created a field and the attribute to call that data object into this interface object is table, and that table is connected. But field cannot be an independent interface object. It has to be contained by a line, so we define a line. Now line cannot be an independent interface object, so we have to define a path which contains that line. Path cannot be independent. It has to be contained by a form. Form cannot be independent. It has to be contained by a report. Report can be independent. However, to complete the cycle, that the interface knows that which data object it has to call, and the data object knows that which interface it has to get connected to, we have to connect this report to the collection via an attribute called trigger. Is this clear to everyone? Now this entire creation of table has been done so that when we select something here, we can pass it on to another report or something that will help us to do that. And what is the only element, the free floating element in TDL that will help us to do? The variable. So we will have to create a variable of type string, and since it would be from a report to a report, it has to be a system variable and empty value. We do not want to give any initial value. So at this field we will inform that the value of this variable has to get modified. So modifies the variable name, and to this we will at the end write var, so that we know it is a variable. Or what we will do is instead of writing like this, we'll just prefix it with sv, which means system variable. Sv, system variable, and here also SV again, but the connector between the report that you will see on your screen for selection and the report that you will see after the selection, the report for the selection and report after the selection, these are two different interfaces. The connector between these two is the collection. Hence you will have to inform the collection you need to use this variable, and what will happen is this is going to display the list. This report will display the list, and now we will need one more report which will actually display the data, and the attribute to display that is report. Now we do not have to mention an action here, because in the main file we have already said display. This means the report that is going to open after the selection has to be displayed, and this report has to be displayed after this collection is being executed. So first this collection gets executed, it triggers the report. At the field level, the variable value is modified. That variable is being informed by this collection. Now this variable gets passed to this report, and then the data is executed. And now we can mention that this is a trigger report for selection of our ledger. And now we will create same value from a report to another report, or from trigger report to final report. And then now we create a final report. And now this report, again definition report. Report contains form definition, form contains part definition, part contains line definition, line contains field definition, and right now we'll just provide a static value. First, now we'll see at least are we getting the list, and when you select on the list, does this report open? That is what we have to test. So now we open tally, F product and features, F4, accept, display, actions in TDL, ledger list. We aren't getting our list, is it? Let me just try to type something. Say L. Oh, I got the list. But it is just allowing me to type one letter at the field level. You see? T. H. So it's just allowing me to type one letter. So what we will do is, we will provide a width to our field where we are getting the data. So width, and we say 50. Now let us see, are we getting what are we able to achieve what we want? FT F4. No, the field width hasn't increased. FT F4, refresh. Yes, now it is increased. The width of the field has increased. Now let me type THE. No, the width has increased, but still the number of characters allowed isn't increased. So the width only increases the size of the field and not the number of characters in the field. For number of characters in a field, you need to make use of an attribute called max, in which you can provide the number of characters allowed. Now refresh. We'll just save all the file once. F4 control A. Now THE. You see this? Now it is allowing us, and now when I select this, it is going to the next report. We'll just beautify this something more. About this, one very important thing, the form is centrally aligned. We'll align it at the top. So vertically we want to align it at the top. So at the form level of the trigger, we will write vertical, align, top, and horizontal how you want. Horizontally align, center. If you don't want to change, say center. If you want to change, give something different. So let us see, has it changed? FTF4. So form is on the top. Now what we want? We want to add a title line before this. Name of ledger, we want to add that. So we will go back to our part and we will create. Now we could create a line here also, that is okay. But now when we give a line here, the sequence will go as the first we will get the table line and then the title line. So that's an incorrect sequence, right? So we will have to mention the title line first and then the body. In this we'll provide a line definition which contains a field, the field definition, and here we'll say set as name of ledger, and to this line we'll give border at the bottom. We'll say thin bottom. We have this? Yes, we do have this. That's a check that you can do on the definition. Control left click and it will take you to that definition. So it exists. So now let's see how is this showing us. FTF4. The cursor has gone to the title line. 2. My table isn't displaying as soon as we enter the report. Remember the session 1 where we spoke about various attributes at field level? So this is the difference between the attribute set as, that though it allows you to give the initial value, it also allows you to change that value. But we do not want to change this value. So we'll say info, so the text does not change. And since it's the title line, we'll say align center. And the table attribute, currently the table isn't showing, so we'll say show the table when always. So we refresh. So we have the title, but my title line hasn't got align center. Why? If you haven't given the width to your field, you cannot align it center, because then the number of characters is the field width, and if the field width and the number of characters are absolutely same, how can you provide that? Right? So you give the field width, and we'll give the same width as our width in the second field, so that they match with each other. So on width, align center, and this is our title line. So we will also give style and make it bold. So we'll say normal, bold. Now see, better. Right now you cannot see the line that we have between these two lines. So what we will do is, in the title line we will say space bottom say 0.1. We don't see the difference, right? So we'll say 1, refresh. But the border is moving with the space bottom, because obviously the border will go at the end of the line. So what we will do is, we will give this border to the field. Now see the difference, right? So you can see the difference. Now a few more changes. The title of this report should be select ledger name. So the report title, select ledger name, right? And if you look, the collection also, it's giving a ledger name collection. That's the definition name, right? So what we'll do is, even to this collection you can give a title, and you can say list of ledgers. And right now this collection is coming from on the right hand side of your report. What we will do is, we will align it in the center. Now see the difference. We are adding attributes one by one to ensure that we see the difference, we feel the difference. Yeah, do you feel the difference? Right now, the width of this collection is broad, bigger than the field. And you might be having a question, can we right now it is only showing me the ledger name. What if I also want to see the parent name along with this? Can we do that? Yes or no? Or can we also provide the width of this column? Right now it is going beyond my field, and my field width is just 15. Can we do that? Yes, you can do that. So there is an attribute called format at collection level, which allows you to give the method name that you want to show in your list, comma separated by the width of that column. So now when you do this, right now we've given 12, we'll make it 15, or we'll make it 20. You'll see the difference, right? So we can see that. Now say I want to add one more. So what do we do? So right now I can only see the name of that ledger. I want to give parent of that ledger. So the group name parent. So what can we do is format $parent, comma 50. And now see, we can see. But how do I know what is this on the left hand side? List of ledgers. This could be the ledger name and this could be its parent. This is an assumption we are making. Right now the title we have given is to the entire table. Title of the table is their list of ledgers. What about the column title? So there is an attribute called subtitle which takes comma separated parameters. So name and parent. You give comma. The sequence has to be maintained. First format is name. So first subtitle is title. We have given name. Second is parent. So we say it as, we'll change it to group. So there is no confusion. Group. Now see this. No, you cannot align the titles to the center. It will remain as it is. Okay, so you can see this. And now when we select this, the modified value should come to this second report. So now we will start doing the beautification of the second report, starting with its title line. So what do? Is we go to the second report, title line. And we will say data of, and we will give the variable name. So the title line, we will see data of and the ledger name. So let us see that is the variable value changing and we're getting the values or not. So let's check that. If data of ABC Private Limited, okay, and what if I click on Arvind Kumar? Yes, so we are getting details of the ledger. So instead of data, we'll make it as details of, and we give a colon, the space. So now you will see that we are able to make a beautified report. Now this is what we can see as a text. Now we want all the details of that ledger. So for that particular ledger, for that particular object, so if it is a single object that you would like to connect, the attribute that we have is at report level object. And which object do you want to connect it to? Ledger. And which ledger? We already have the ledger name in this variable. You can provide that. Now we haven't given any method names to its form, part, lines and fields. So we will not be able to see a change. So we will make a small change in this set as, we will make it $name. So at least we know that we are able to display the name. Yes, we are able to display the name. This means the object is connected, right? So gradually what you can do is, you can keep adding more fields to it, and every field you can get the method name. Now how do I get the method name? Very simple. Schema, ledger object. The one that you see is the notebook kind of thing is the method name. This is the sub collection of that object, green books. Double click, expand it. This is the object of this collection. Double click on it. These are the methods of that object. So the frequently used collection for our ledger object is bill allocations, which contains an object called ledger bill allocations. and it has bill methods of bill credit period, bill date, which has sub collection of interest collection in case interest is activated. So you can have those details drilled further, right? So once you say connected to object ledger and you give the ledger name, everything under that is what you can access, everything, each and every method and each and every collection. So this is how a display collection works. Now similarly, say you wanted to change, you wanted an alter report. Simple thing that you have to do is alter. You just write alter collection and the report that you have, this report right now is in display mode. We have written just alter collection here and the report will open in the alter mode and you can do changes. Well, right now the changes won't take place because there are certain more things that you will have to do for the changes to take place, but this is the simplest way that you can create a display collection report. It's an interactive report based on user selection. You are calling the report. So more or less there are a lot of things we have added to this report. So we'll do a quick recap of what we have done in this display collection. Add key item, item name, hotkey, action, display collection. Why we wrote display collection? Because first we want the collection to be listed. Based on selection we want to display the report. So display collection, collection name. So we went to the collection creation. Now what you want to show in this collection? We wanted to show ledger. So we gave the data type as ledger. But every data object has to be connected to an interface object. Then only you can see the data or manipulate the data. Then in Tally, when we saw the default Tally reports, all this data is connected at field level. So we added at field level an attribute called table and provided the collection name. But can the field definition exist on its own? Can it be independent? No. It has to be contained by a line. Line is the container of the field. So we defined a line definition with the field container. Can a line definition be independent? No. It has to be a part. It has to be contained by a part. So we have a part definition with the line and declarations. Can part exist on its own? No, it has to be contained by a form. So we made a form definition. Now, can the form exist on its own independently? No, it has to be contained by a report. Can a report be contained by its? Can report be independent? Yes, the report can be independent. However, the container, the action that is being called from the menu definition does know this collection. It's a data collection, but it does not know which interface to be called. Hence, at the collection level, there is an attribute called trigger which calls the report, and this report is called only for the selection of the selection of the ledger. Now, when we select a value in this field, it should move to the next report, and the only free element that can move from an object to an object, irrespective of interface object or data object, the only free floating element is variable. And at field level, we will modify that variable because that value has to change, right? The values that we are pushing has to keep changing. We cannot write variable here because that values have to be continuously be changing as and when the user selects here. So modifies the variable value, and since the variable value has to be passed from a report to a report, the variable has to be a system variable. It has to be a system variable. So variable type string, system variable. And system variable requires an initial value, so we have kept it as empty quotes. Now this report is being triggered from this data collection, and there is a variable that is getting modified, and after the selection of that, a report has to get opened. So the connector between the first report and the second report is this collection. There is a router. So until unless you do not give the values to the router, how can it pass to the next level? Hence to this data collection, we need to specify which variable will you use at your trigger report to open your final report. At final report is very simple. It is report form part line field. Now I want to display the data of the selected ledger. So that is only one ledger object value that we need. Since it is just one ledger values that we need, one ledger object values that we need, at report definition we have provided object colon ledger colon the ledger variable value, that is the identifier of this ledger name. While we were creating this field, we identified there were certain shortfalls. One, since there is no text in this field, the size of this field width was 1, and it allowed us to push in just one character. To increase the size of the field, we have to make use of the width attribute. However, this only increases the field size but does not allow us to give more characters. To provide more characters, you need to use the attribute max. With the attribute max, you can give more characters. So you have the lower limit of number of characters is by default 1 if you do not provide the max attribute. If you provide the max attribute, you can give these many number of characters. Then to every report we gave a title, and similarly we can also give a title to our collection. Then by default the table was coming on the right hand side of the field. We wanted it to be at the center, so we said align center. Format is as good as a set as at field level. Field level, if you want to display the data, you write a set as. Collection as a table, when you want to display the data, the attribute is format colon the method name or the method formula, comma the width of the column. So format colon dollar name comma 20, that is the width of the name field, and parent is the group name of the ledger with the width of 15. Title will give the title to that entire table. If you want to give the title to the individual columns, then the attribute is subtitle, and with these few attributes added, we have been able to make this wonderful report. And our report is ready. Right now we have just added one field to check whether the data that we are passing, the variable is working or not. You can add more fields to it. Right? Simple as possible. Now there's a discussion on the various actions. So we've already seen the display action. Similarly, we have a create action, we have alter action. We have seen the utility of these three attributes at collection level. Trigger attribute can be used at collection level. Similarly, can also be used at report and field in case there is a particular report that you would like to call from that particular definition. Like from collection we wanted to trigger to a report, so we have given a trigger attribute. Trigger attribute displays the behavior of this attribute for report is that you want to display a data in a list format. So automatically, if you have noticed, it opens in an alter mode. It allows you to select the object which and this contains the variable value that has to be passed to the next report. So these are the three attributes that we have, the main attributes at the collection level to make this interactive report. Although apart from that, we did learn few more attributes at collection level, like the title, the subtitle, format, align. Then at the field level, we learnt the attribute table, show table, modifies, max, and width. Right? So there was few new additional attributes we learnt apart from what we have done earlier. If you have noticed, just small English words is what we have used at attribute. Meaningful English words making it very simple and easy to use. And this is an example of that report. And we have a try it out. Right now we did for the listing of the ledger. So we selected a ledger and we showed for that particular ledger. Now we will do the other thing. We will select the stock group and we will get the stock items of that stock group. Okay, the initial one we selected ledger and we bought ledger, but now we're going to select the stock group and we are going to get the stock item names. So let us just write this code in our file. So first we'll create a new file and we will say listing of stock item include this file in the main file. Key item list of stock item S display collection. Now what collection are we going to first display? The stock groups. So we'll say STKGRP call. We can give some more meaningful name. So it indicates that this is a collection of stock group. Collection being used at field as table. Now what would be the object type? So this is the primary object types. So our object type would be stock group. Type stock group. So we have the collection of type stock group. Now where will we display this data object? at field definition. And the attribute would be table. Can this field be an independent entity? No, it has to be a part of line definition. Can the line be independent? No, it has to be a part of part definition. Can the part be independent? No, it has to be a part of form definition. Can a form be independent? No, it has to be a part of report definition. Now, to this collection, we need to inform that this is the interface that will be containing you. The collection has to be contained by an interface, but we will need to inform this data collection that you would be holding this interface, and that is through the attribute trigger. When we change a value in this field, it should get pushed. So the only so it is report 1 is one interface, report 2 is another interface. So there is one trigger report, there will be another to report to display. So we have two different reports. So only free element or the floating element that can pass from a report to a report a value is through variable at field level. With the help of attribute modifies, we can modify our variable value. Now we need to define this variable. Will be of type string. Because it has to move from an interface to an interface, it has to be a part of system variable. Now, this definition is going to modify this variable, which has to pass to this data collection. The data collection should also be aware of that. So, variable and variable name. Now, based on selection from this report, a different report has to open. So the report and the name of that report will be stock item list, because we want to open the list of stock items when we still select the stock group. Every definition, whenever possible, provide the title. So here we provide list of stock groups. Then we need two things. We need the format $name, 20. Then we need these column titles, so subtitle, name. If you need any further formats, you can provide that. Say format $closing balance, comma 15. So name, comma closing balance. Then aligning it to the center of the field. So whatever beautification possible we have done for the collection. This is the beautification that we require for collection. This is the important things for making that report interactive. Report, we will give a title. Select stock group. Now we will require 2 lines. This is for the table. This is for the table, and we need 1 title line. It needs a field. Field we have to define. For us, T here stands for title. Since it is a title field, we will make use of attribute info. So our text is not editable, otherwise the text gets editable. Info, name of stock group. Align the text to center. Line wheel can give space bottom. Then style, we will give it as normal bold, and we'll give a border thin bottom. So whatever I think we need for our title line is done, and this is our line where we'll have the data. He had just given table. When you want to show the table, show table always. We haven't given the width, so we'll give width according to what we have given here. It's 20 plus 15, 35. So we'll give the field width as 40, so we can see it aligned properly. So width 40, and same way for this field, width 40, max for number of characters 251. Anything else? Yes, we have to align our form also at the center, top center. So vertical align top, horizontal align center. So our work is done for this, and now we will create this report for the display purpose. Report is for display of stock item based on selected stock group. Report stock item. The report stock item list. Form stock item list, and we'll give the title TITLE list of stock item for the group variable name, because the group will keep changing every time, right? So for that we have done this. Now we will how many stock items do we want to retrieve based on stock group selection? 1, 2, we do not know how many, right? So if it is a single stock item, then the report level object is right. However, since it is multiple stock items, we will make use the attribute called repeat, and that repeat would be at the part level. So we'll have a form definition. This form will have a part. This part, now how many lines should we provide? 1, 2, 3. We'll provide 2 lines. 1 line for the title and second line where we will display the data. You remember in session 3 we spoke about in the objects and collections we spoke about an attribute called repeat. This repeat would be on the second line, because first we want on the top we want the title line and then we want the body line. Repeat on a stock item collection, we need the collection, right? And with every repeat a scroll is mandatory. We'll just create the collection. What would be the object type of this collection? Type would be stock item. But which stock item? When we write type current stock item, it will give me all the stock items. But we want particularly for this stock group. So what do? Child of the stock group name. Remember the attribute we discussed, child of, at our objects and collection session, right? So the attribute child of is what we will use. Now continuing with our definitions. Line, we'll give the body line first, and then either we can give the body line and the title line, but as a programmer we would always prefer to define the title line first, in which we will use the body line. All the fields and all those things will be from this body line. And if you remember, by locally for all the fields we had changed the style and aligned it center and all those things. So it would be you can create a standard template to file and you can use that. So we can say local colon field default means any field that comes under this line has to be of style normal bold. Local colon field colon default colon type should be of string, because it's a title line, it has to be of type string. Local colon field colon default, by default all the title should be aligned center, all the text of the title. And local colon field colon default colon line colon 0, so that if the text is huge it will break into multiple lines depending upon the field width. Then we will add just two fields right now to this. We will add for one stock item name and one stock closing balance. So we'll say local colon field colon stk item name info. Now it's a label, right? And we'll write particulars and local colon field colon stk item cl bal and info closing balance, and we will give a border thin bottom. Now for the second line, we will have two fields, stk item name and this. Define those fields. And set as, so the method for stock item name is $name, and definitely we will provide a width to this field, and say maximum width we'll give is as 35, and we will give another field and we will say stock item cl bal. Now what kind of balance would a stock item have? Set as dollar closing balance, and the width we will give as say 20. The data type for this field would be type string, and the data type, so what would be the closing balance data type for a stock item? Of quantity. So 20 is an error. So hopefully we have done more or less whatever is required for our code. So let us just refresh, tally and check. So our TDL is now connected. Here it is, list of stock item. We are getting our stock group names, and we select a stock group and we are getting the items under it with their closing balance. However, if you notice, we are getting only those items which are directly available under that particular group. So what do we do is, along with the stock item collection here, child of, we will also give belongs to yes. Now see the difference? Earlier we did not have this test MFG, but now we are having this test MFG. Components, computers. Here, do you notice this? We'll do one more thing. We'll add one more column to this. Since we have multiple stock groups also there, we will give the name of the stock group also, and local colon field colon the field name, info parent, and here we will add the field we want. Again, the sequence, the way you write the definition sequence is not important, yet as it would be easier for us to troubleshoot the code in future if we write in sequence. Hence we are writing in sequence. It does not matter whether you write at the top or whether you write at the bottom. It's just for our benefit. Accessories, components. Here only one item is there in computers. These two are in under HCL and IBM. So we understand HCL is also a group available in computers, and you see we don't have our borders clear properly mentioned here. So at part level we will skip common borders. Yes. So we have what we need now, and this is all what we have for actions in TDL. Simple yet effective. And now we move on to our next part of the session, user defined fields. User defined fields. So what is a user defined field? So as we have discussed earlier, Tally ERP9 has ERP9 has a structure of an object like a tree. The structure of an object, the data type and the storages are required in order to store data, and that structure is predefined by platform. All the data that is stored in Tally database, by default the data is always stored in that predefined storages. However, depending upon the customer requirement, you will have to add additional fields, and the data added to this additional fields should get added to the database. Hence, we require a UDF. A UDF has a storage component that is defined by the user. User-defined fields are stored in the context of the current object. So wherever you add the field, every report, by now you should have a clear idea that every report that exists in Tally has a data context, has an object context. So you do not have to provide any additional data context to the available reports. So wherever you add the field, whichever screen you add the field, whichever report you add the field, the data context automatically is picked up by that field. That field can be of any data type such as string, amount, quantity, rate, number, date, rate of exchange, logical. Only defining the UDF does not serve the purpose until and unless you are associating it to one of the internal objects. You cannot have an individual object created of your own. It has to be connected to one of the internal objects. If you are adding to the existing ones, those reports already have objects. If you are creating a new one, you have to associate it to one of the internal object. So when a UDF is created and is used in an already existing report, the data is stored in the context of that object, and it is always attached to that object. So whenever you call that object, your value will get retrieved. But if it is a new report, you will have to provide the object context, and whenever you call that object, your data will get retrieved. The creation of the UDF is very simple. It is created under a system definition UDF. So it is open square bracket system colon UDF. While we are writing system, obviously it has to get stored with your database. So that is the reason why it is under the definition of system UDF. The name of the UDF, it is the identification of the storage. It is the purpose of this UDF is to identify the storage name. The data type is the tally data type that you can use, or the aggregate. Aggregate data type is a very peculiar kind of data type which we will be learning about it very shortly. And index number. Index number is important because the tally stores its database in a flat file system. So when you want to add data, it is stored in the form of indexing. So when you have the data type, you need to provide the so when you are adding a UDF, you need to provide the kind of data that the UDF will hold and into which index number. So this is how you can define. Do you have a question here in your mind? How would you know the index number? So this is the UDF allotment that we have done for the developers. So our developers can use UDF numbers from 1 to 9999 and from 20,001 to 59,999. So the 10,000 to 20,000, this allotment has been already done by Tally Solutions Private Limited. That is for our internal development. So any UDF numbers between 10,000 to 20,000 cannot be used by the developer, and the developer has been made that sensitive that it will not allow you to use any UDF number between this, including these numbers. So from 10,000 to 20,000 you cannot use this index number. Rest all the index numbers from 1 to 9,999 can be used, and 20,001 from 20,001 to 59,999 can be used. However, at the initial stages of Tally, Tally has already used index numbers 1 to 29. So truly speaking, you can use an index number from 30 to 9,999 and 20,001 to 59,999. To certain the initial stages of Tally, the UDF index number from 1 to 29 has already been used. So in case there is a clash, the data that you are providing will fail. Then the storage at the field level. So you will have a report in an alteration mode, and the UDF is created. That is, you have given the storage name. Now that is the database, the backend. Now you have to connect it to the interface, the front end of the front end that the user will see. There was a statement that we learned: every data object can be manipulated only through the interface object. So the place where we display the data is the place where we will edit our data, that is through field. So at field level we have an attribute called storage colon, you need to provide your storage name, the UDF name that you are using at your system definition. So you have the storage, so this will push the data, this will help you to push the data, and it goes stores into that system UDF, and when you want to call the data, you can simply add a $sign to it and the data is retrieved. So it is very simple. UDF, whatever report generations we have done up till now, it is the same way. The only difference now would be the utility of the attribute storage. We have classified the UDFs into two categories, the simple UDF and the complex or the aggregate UDF. Now, what is a simple UDF? A simple UDF is that it can store one or more values of a single data type. Like when you enter name of your ledger, it's a string, one data. Or you type address, it is string but multiple lines. So can store one or more values of a single data type. When a UDF is used for storage, it stores the value in the context of the object associated at line or at the report. So if the line does not have an object, it depends upon the report object. If the line has an object, it associates itself with that line to push the data for the object context. Only one value would be stored because there is a single line. Depending on the usage of your usages, we can have multiple or single values. And if it is a multiple value, you can create a collection of that UDF. So this is an example. This clearly states that my report object context is company. It has a storage called vehicle and the system UDF vehicle string 700. So my UDF name, its data type and its index number. So does this mean the index number we have provided, that is 20,001 to 59,999, is for all the data types? So would it work if we give string 20,001, and would it clash with the data type number 20,001? Say I have a UDF name vehicle string 700. Now we provide vehicle number type number and give 700 to that. Will it clash or will it work? Well, the index number ranges that we have provided is for each data type. So you can provide a string data type from 20,001 to 59,999. Number data type also can be provided from 20,001 to 59,999. Date can be provided from 20,001 to 59,999. Truly speaking, from 1 to 59,999. Because we have reserved, you cannot use. Otherwise, yes, you can use. So each data type has its own set of one entire index. And you can create a data. So now let us just create a module. So we'll make a practical module which will help us to give a better understanding on how to use each of these UDFs. So we will just create a new project. We'll close all files and we go to the project pane. And we close all projects. We will quit our tally. We'll create a new project by the name of agent module. Provide our location. Adding a new file, agent module main, and we'll just create one more file, and we will first make use of this. We want to add an option in our accounting features, right? So we'll give the name as such is enabling module. The text file, we will give the name itself as enabling module. Now to this main file, we will include our file. Here, right now, we do not have to make any changes to the gateway of Tally. We want to add to the accounting features agent module. Use agent module, yes or no. This is what we want to do, right? So, one, no hash menu gateway of Tally right now. We don't need that. So, we go to this module. Now, here is the entire work. Important, how to search the location. So now let us just execute Tally. Select a company. F11 accounting features. Now this is our accounting features screen. Okay. Now it is a part of other features, right? It is nothing to do with the general or invoicing or banking feature or anything, right? It's a part of our other features. So just below enable company logo, this text, we will add our new text, enable agent module. So what we will do is we will try to search for this text. This will make our work easier because enable company logo isn't available at many places. So Control D, enable company logo. Well, as you can see, we have got just one search for it. And it says, okay, median prompt, CMP company logo, enable company logo. So we got the line where it exists. Now, think, what do you want to add? You want to add field to it, then you can modify this line. No, what do we want to add? We want to add a line to it. So we will have to check where or probably which part does this line exist. So in Tally Developer, we have given an option to search for the definitions wherever they are referred, wherever they are used or called or declared. So Control Alt D, D for Denmark, definition type line, and the name of our definition is CMP company logo. In the default, search for its references only, and we've got this part. Now read this part. Def TDL SRC, that's it is the screen. Company of, it's a company related thing. Yes, it's a company related thing. CMP, short form for company. OPR, short form for operations. Part, okay. CMP, company. ACCT feature, that is the accounting feature, right. So it's on the right side. Is it on the right side? Yes, accounting features on the right side. So you can go to this part, add, now modify this part, hash. Now again, before doing any further changes, always ensure that you validate whether you are at the right definition or not. So what we will do is we will change the background color to say green. Now we will refresh our Tally. This part of the screen should change to green. So we will just refresh. F, product and features, F4, Control A, F11, accounting features. It is turned green. That means we are at the right target. Now We have to ensure that whatever we provide should be inclined with what we have in default tally. So what we will do is, we will see, okay, the line name here says CMP company logo, so we will give our line name also similar to this, like CMP agent module. So we have the line CMP company logo. We would provide our line name on the similar lines, and as you can see, it has fields and local prompt. So what we will do is, we'll copy this so that, and we will make we'll make some changes to this itself, so it just gels with the existing tally interface. And our line name will be CMP logo, a CMP agent module, and this line we will add here. So we'll say add line this, and info enable agent module, and here we will change our field name agent module, and our new field. We did this copy paste just so that we can just gel with the existing default tally output. That's the only reason we have done this. Now with this field, what would be this field type? What would be this field type? The question is enable agent module, and the field type would be logical. So we will provide the name data type as type logical. Then we need to store this yes and no. So we need a storage is agent module enabled. This is the name of the storage. The name we have given is so precise that by looking at this we will understand that this storage is for the option yes or no, and the storage has to be added to the system UDF. So UDF name, data type has to be logical, and we will use 2001. Type is given. Now we will just execute, we'll just refresh our code and check how does this work. F product features, F4 control A, escape, F11 accounting features, and right at the end, as you can see, it is enabled. But still, when we come here, we have this table yes and no. Here I can type S T E W T W P O, and the table is not getting listed. So we need that yes no table, right? So again we'll go here and check in this field what is the table name. Although they haven't mentioned any table name here, there is a field that has been used, and in this field all the required details are mentioned. The data type, the width, the maximum number of characters, the style, the table, when to show the table, and what is the key. Left double click, right? So either we can provide everything in our code, or we can simply say use logical field. Since we are the beginners, for the current session course, we would be typing each and every required data. So at this field, data type is mentioned, then we need the width. What would be the width size? maximum we would need 3 characters, so 3. What would be the max characters? Obviously it is just yes or no, so 3. Then we need the table, the list table. So you can look here and you can see the table name itself is yes no table, and show on error and this logical key. So now whatever is supposed to be there for a default field, we have for our field also. Now we can refresh Tally and see how it works. And we need the style to be normal, bold. F4 Control A, F11 accounting features. Right now by default it is no. We set it to yes. We go back, it is enabled. So this is how we can enable the agent module. So now we have added a simple UDF. So this is what we have done. Now getting multiple values. So now what we will do is we will add agent names to that particular form. When we set it to yes, we should be able to add the names of the agents. So that is what we will do. So since we will require multiple values in that UDF. So when you want multiple values on different lines, the way to enable multiple lines is through the attribute repeat, right? However, here we do not have a collection. Here we need to prepare the collection. So here the only difference would be the repeat line will not be on a collection name. Definitely the collection hasn't been created. So for this kind of behavior, we have the UDF. So what we would do is, we would create a subform to this current report, the current option that we have done, and we will create agent names. So we'll create a new text file and we will give the name as agent name creation, and we will include it into our main file. Now when we set yes here, we want a new report to open. So the attribute to open a new report is subform, and this would be name of a report. So we go to agent creation and report. You might be wondering, we have written subform here, but we haven't written the mode that it should open this report. Well, the subform attribute is such that it indicates that it has to open a report in an alter mode. So you don't have to write the mode of the report. You simply write subform. It opens a report in an alter mode. So this is the report. Here we'll provide the title. We'll give creation of agent name, contains form. We give the form name, contains part, part contains line. Now how many lines would we need? So by now we have understood we would at least require 2 lines, one for the title and one for the and one for the list where we will create our agent names. So we say agent name title and agent name body. Now first we'll have the line colon agent name title. This will contain one field. So what we will do is, instead of creating fields here separately, again we will use the body line here, so that whatever field we have here, the same number of field gets added here. So use field body. Then all those local field by default, what we have to do, local field default type, first of all the data type string, then default style normal bold, then default line column 0, then align center, right? So these 4 lines are fixed, and we will give a space bottom, and now currently we need only one field because we need the list of agent name. So local colon field colon agent name CMP agent name set as name of agent and this line field we will give a border at the bottom, so thin bottom. Fine. Now we go to the body line. We create the body line. We add a field to it. Right now we have only one field, and that field name would be CMP agent's name. That is company level. There is a field. Then the field name. Now you need to remember, okay, what does a field need? Data type, string. What should be the field width? So we give 40. How many characters should it allow? 251. Now whatever data we enter here, shouldn't it get stored? So we need a storage. Now every storage should be a part of your system UDF. So we can make a system UDF name, its data type string, and this also can be 20001. So if you note here, enabling module system UDF agent module 20001 allowed, and along with that same data code we have agent name 20,001. So both is correct. Now let's go to our tally and see the output. F11 accounting features. Yes, enter. Oh, one, the cursor is going to name of agent, which is incorrect, and the name of agent text is coming here. So even this is incorrect. So what do we do first? So first of all, this set as has to be changed to info. Second, there is a storage at this field, but when it comes to the title line, the storage shouldn't be there, right? So we will delete the storage also at this title line. Now see the difference. The cursor isn't going there, and by default we do not have any value. But right now we are just able to add one more value, one value. We should have that list to append, right? So for that, what we have to do? We have to repeat a line. Repeat line on agent name body, and we do not have a collection here. So what we will do is, since we have simple repeat values here, we will make use of our existing UDF name itself. This UDF name itself to get the repeated value of same type. With every repeat, a scroll is mandate. Even in our display mode, scroll is mandate. Similarly, even in the alter mode, with every repeat, scroll is mandate. Now let us see what is happening. Oh, I am able to still add just one value, but I did give repeat, right? Well, this is a car which will not start without the brake. When we start a car, it is important to press the brake to stop the car. So here you have given the repeat and you have started the car, but you haven't given the condition where it should brake, so it doesn't start at all. So in an alter mode for a repeat line, it is mandate to give brake on. When to brake? When this value, this method name, it would be a method, right? So if this is a storage, to retrieve the value, it is a method dollar. When this value is empty, so to identify whether the value is empty or not, we have a function $$ is empty, which takes a formula. So dollar method name. So if this value is empty, break. Now let us see this. F11 accounting features module. Yes, we'll give the name Keshav, Krishna, Gopal, Radha, Gopi. Accept. Let us just go back and check. Yes, we do have those values. Now say if I make this value as no, yet it is opening my values. What should happen is, if the value here is set to no, this should not open, right? So what you can do to control this is, subform report name colon $$ value. Value is the function which checks the current field value. If the current field value is equal to yes, then only open the field. Then only open the subform. So now just let us check this. FT, F4, F11 accounting features. No, cursor does not go. Yes, the cursor goes and the values are made available, and you can keep appending the values. See, the values are right. So we have added a multiple, simple, repeat UDF. So when we talk about a single value UDF, it is of two kinds. When you talk about a simple UDF, it is of two kinds, single UDF and multiple UDFs. So it can store one or more values but of same data type. Now whatever agent we are creating, now we will create a collection out of that, because whatever we are creating, we will need that, we will use that further for some further utility. So we'll create a collection. Collection colon agent name collection. Now every collection requires a data type. So what is the type of data here? Here it refers to the object type. So it is CMP agent name. So I will write type colon CMP agent name. But as we spoke, every object or anything that you create here has to be connected to one of the internal object, because CMP agent name cannot be on its own. It has to be connected to one of the internal object. So at report accounting features, what would be the object? Company. So there will be a base company object which has CMP agent. So I need CMP agent name that is available in my company object. Now because this kind of collections are known as secondary collections, because you are not directly calling your primary objects, but you are calling an object within a primary object. So these kind of secondary collections require a child of, and definitely you will say you require a child of the current company, and the system variable that holds the current company name is #SV current company. So the collection is ready. #SV current company. Type the UDF name, because this is going to hold multiple values, and the object name company, because this cannot stand on its own. It is dependent on the company object. So this is what we have done. Now complex or compound aggregate UDF, when multiple values of different data types is required to store as one entity. For example, when you go to voucher and you go to start pushing values for your stock item. Each row is one object where you hold stock item which is of data type string, quantity which is of data type quantity, amount which is of type amount, rate which is of type rate. So these are 4 different data types that you are holding. Now to hold this entire thing into one container, we require an aggregate UDF. We could use the simple UDF directly if it was single data type. When we have to have multiple values of multiple data types, then we need the aggregate UDF. This aggregate UDF we can create a collection and we can further use it as a table or as a in our report to show okay which agent what. But we will require an aggregate UDF. So how do we define an aggregate UDF? It is similar to the definition of your other simple system UDFs. The only thing is the data type that you will use for this aggregate UDF is aggregate. The data type would be aggregate. This aggregate UDF will be replacing your UDF or your collection name at the repeat level. So, and again you can add a subform also to it if you require to this aggregate UDF. So this is what we have done already. Subform is what we have done and we've given the condition, right? So what we will do is now we will create a report on gateway of Tally which gives us this screen, and here we will select our own agent name. Okay, so we come to gateway, we come to our code again, where we will create one more file. Now we will create agent details creation. With the main module, include agent details creation.txt. So now what we will do is this is enabled and this is set to yes, and we have the values here. Okay, so in this accounts info, payroll info, inventory info, just after the inventory info we will say agent info. So first what we will do is we will remove the background color that we have given to our feature, not required anymore. Now we'll say hash menu gateway of Tally. Now we know this menu very well. Now we want to add value after inventory info, right? Or we can say we'll add it after accounts info. So we go to gateway of Tally, key item at LOC accounts info. So what we will just copy this so that we do not make any spelling mistakes. Copy, go to your file, add key item after at LOC info. What you want to add? Agent info, and we will give shortcut as G. What you want to do? You want to alter report called agent details creation. Now alter is a report name, so we give report name and we give the title. Form. Form contains part definition, line. Again, we will have two lines. Agent DTLS title and agent DTLS body. It is not necessary to give the suffix it by the name title and body. As we keep repeating, as a beginner, it is important for us to understand what we are writing, and hence we are providing these details as prefix and suffixes. As in, when you keep practicing and you become more and more professional, you need to give a better naming conventions. So agent title, so line definition, agent title. As I said, we have some common things available for our templates for the title fields. So we will just copy this template that we have. We have been doing this repeatedly, right? This task is what we are doing repeatedly. So we'll just copy this from the previous and paste here. Right? And how many fields do we need? We need one field for agent name, one field for date of joining, and one field for commission. So we need 3 fields. So local field agent name. So hopefully we do not have such field created. Well, even this can be written in a report which is in a display mode. Note, if an attribute is specified, say there is a report that you're opening in a display mode and you have specified storage, Tally will not give any error. However, that attribute will be simply ignored by the TDL of Tally. So you need not worry if you have created a template and you are using that template. Absolutely okay. Agent name, and since this is a title line, we'll say info name, then local field agent DOJ, that is short form for date of joining. That's what we mention generally. And give title as date of joining. And then we have a local field agent commission short form info commission in percentages you have to mention, and definitely you need to say use line body if you are changing the field locally. That means you are calling from somewhere. Now the line definition for body. We have 3 fields here: agent name, agent date of joining, and agent commission. Field agent name. Since we are going to hold the name of the agent, it would be of type string. I do not want the user to type it here. I wanted to call from the table. Which table? In the agent name creation, we have already created this collection to gather the agent name is what we want to show here. Now, since this is what we are going to show as a table, we will provide a title to it saying list of agent. Along with that, we will provide a format, that is $CMP agent name, width is 20, and you can provide a subtitle. Again, indenting is very important, because if the indenting is neat, we can troubleshoot it faster. Subtitle, we provide name and nothing else, right? Title and format is important with the child. So we have this. Now when we have table, show table always. Now this is a fill and edit mode, so we need to give the width. We'll give it as 25. Because it is into edit mode, we need the number of characters, so 251. Right. So anything else apart from this? No. Then we have the next field, agent date of joining. Now date of joining would be of type date, and each of these fields should have storage, and every storage is roofed under system UDF. Now this is type string, and this will be 24,568 allowed. You can give any number from 20,001 to 59,999, any number. Then a date of joining. Then the width of the field will not exceed, should not exceed 10 and 12, so max 15 width, and max characters would should be 12, and we require a storage, agent DOJ, and every storage has to be under system UDF, data type date, and 56,741, agent commission, field agent commission should be of type number, width, though we would be providing small numbers, the commission percentage text is quite big, so we'll give 10. And numbers are supposed to be aligned from the right, so align right. Then max, obviously you cannot give any commission as 300% or anything above 100, so we give maximum 2 characters. So you can allow up to 99 is allowed, right? You can give only 2 characters, 01, 02, something like that is what you can give. And a storage which is of type number. Done. important thing is what we have missed out is to which object will this get connected to? It has to get connected to one of the internal object, right? That's what we said. It has to be connected to one of the internal object. So what we will do is connect it to one of the internal object, and to an internal object this will be added as a sub collection. An internal object has to be a primary collection. So what we will do is we will connect it with our internal object company, and which company? The current company, right? So let us just execute tally and see what are the details we are getting on our screen, whether there is an error or something like that. So here we get agent info G. Yes, we are getting the name of the agent. 1, it is coming on the top. Date of joining and commission percent. So there are 2 problems. Line isn't repeating. We need the repeat line. 2, we need to give a line between the title line and the body line to make it look better. We need a repeat line. So we will make first these 2 changes. We'll go to the body line and we say space top 1, and to the body, to the title line, we will say border, thin border. Just refresh this. And agent info. And the border is thin bottom. So we have our details here. Now we need to do the repeat line. So we need the repeat line here. So we do a repeat line. The repeat line has to be on the body. Repeat line. Now here we cannot provide a name of our UDF. So we need an aggregate UDF. So we create an aggregate UDF by name agent DTLS. Now every repeat requires a scroll, and we will provide it as an aggregate UDF. Or refresh and check. Okay. We select copy, we select date of joining. Now what is the problem here? We haven't given the break criteria. The break criteria, isn't it important? Right. But what should we give the break criteria? One, we have seen in the default tally that there is an option that if you select the end of list, it breaks. So we will have to add end of list to this collection. So what we will do is, where we have specified the table, we will give a comma and we will specify. So in default we have created those collections. So collection, and you will see the name that you see on as your text. For those we have created those collections. So we have end of list, not applicable, all items, primary, others. So for all of this the collections are made available. So in your field level where you have mentioned table, you can say end of list, and in your break criteria, here break on, when does should it break, dollar is end of list. What should be the end of list? The agent name. So if the agent's name is end of list, the scroll should break. Now let us see. So copy. Okay, it is breaking, but it is still going to the other fields, which means I will have to give this similar criteria to the other fields by saying skip these fields if the field value is end of list. Now see this. So now we'll just check. Now when we click end of list, values, the field voucher is accepted, and whatever the values we have, it is as it is, right? So another thing that we have here is the space top. Because of this, there's a lot of space coming here, so we'll give a space to this. We'll give a space bottom here. Right, so we have the required values. If you want, you can give the borders. So to the date of joining, we'll give border. Thin, left, right. And at part level, we will give common borders. Now you can see we have this, and now if you want, you can just change the background color of the form. So we give the background, and we'll just change this background to something better. Control J, color, color, and we can pick a color, or if you want, you can create your own color. We'll take it as crystal blue, and take the color. And our agent details report is also ready, and this is on and all whole coverage, the entire structure, how data is getting stored into Tally. There is nothing additional to this on how data is getting stored into Tally. So we have completed, tried out 32. And now coming to validations and controls. So what do you understand by validations and controls is nothing to put a checklist on your definitions, and there are 5 magical attributes available at various definitions where it allows us to provide the validations and controls. Starting with the unique attribute. What is a unique attribute? The unique attribute in itself makes us identify that it is talking about making things unique. So it is a field, there are unique attribute can be used at field level. It accepts a logical value, and as it suggests, it does not allow you to duplicate the field value. Now, where do we do this is in Tally agent accounting features. Here I have already given these names. Now if I provide Gopal, it is allowing me to give Gopal for the second time, and if I accept and I go back to see that I have Gopal twice, which is incorrect. So what do we do is the report where we are creating this name, we will say unique colon yes. Simply mention unique colon yes. Now see this. All we haven't done anything else apart from adding this. F4 refresh. F11 accounting features enable company here. See, it does not allow me to give Gopal second time. Keshav, Krishna, Gopal, Radha, Gopi, Shiva, Ganesha, Lakshmi, Vidya. Let me try to give Gopal. See, it does not allow us to give the duplicate name. So one unique attribute at field level does not allow us to duplicate the values in that particular field. Now we come to our second report of agent info. We have used Gopi and Krishna and Shiva. Again I can select Gopi. Now an agent cannot have two date of joining or the commission percentage, right? So this is very peculiar behavior that it is still allowing me to select, and it here one we can do is make the field attribute unique colon yes again, right? So it will stop, will not allow us to proceed further until and unless that is changed. Unless this is changed, it will not allow us. But what if the name doesn't come in the list in itself, shouldn't come here itself? For doing that, again we have a unique attribute at our collection level. This unique attribute is used to control the display of the values in the table based on the values selected from the table in the field. So values that you have already selected should not get displayed. So for that you have to use $name, which is from the current table, and $method, that is from your field level where this collection is getting displayed as table. So here unique CMP agent name, comma, and it is getting displayed as table in the field here, which has a storage agent name. This is the unique value. So that is the uniqueness. And to refresh, as we have stated multiple times, the system UDS and the data collection refreshment, it is always preferable that you quit Tally and you open Tally. Select company, agent info, the values will become unique. But as you just saw, the values in this collection wasn't getting unique. Well, this functionality of the collection is working. However, this data collection after every line needs a refreshment for the next field, and to do that we need this attribute dynamic colon empty quotes where the table is specified. So a combination of unique and the dynamic colon will filter out the table. So let us just refresh tally. Now if you go to agent info, right now Gopi is there. Now you will see Gopi isn't there. Now you see Krishna and Gopi isn't there. Now you give Gopal and the date of joining is empty. Shouldn't it be an error that the date of joining isn't mentioned there? So this is where the validate comes into picture, that until and unless the given condition isn't satisfied, that the field value should not be empty, it will not allow you to move further. So where we have date of joining field, there we will say validate. Validate what? That the current field value is not empty. So not $$ is empty. What is not empty? Current field value. So there's a function which checks the current field value. $$ value is the function. Now check. So agent info, we add a new one. You see, so what it does, it checks, okay, current field value is empty, so it does not allow. If it is not empty, then only it will allow me to go further. So 4/9/2011, and my cursor goes further. The same has to be applicable for commission also. So also validate. Obviously, if it is an agent we are hiring, without giving him a commission percentage, the agent detail isn't sufficient, so it should validate for that also, that it should not be empty. Then we have notification. Again, notification attribute is available at various levels. At field level notification, what it does is, it checks for the conditions that we have provided. If the condition is met, then a message, it prompts a message. It's a warning message and allows the user to proceed further. It is just a warning message and it allows you to proceed further. For example, look at our company. Say the company books beginning is from 2009, right? And at agent info, we can give a condition that the date of joining should not be less than the 2009. That means that at least if we are creating an agent here, at least the date of joining should be from the books of beginning of our company. But let it be a warning message. Maybe he or she was an old employee and we haven't earlier was into different department and we have moved in to a new department, and all the criteria are secondary. So we want to give a warning message that the date of joining you have provided is less than your financial year books beginning. So what we can do is, at field level, it requires two things. One, what you want to provide in the message box, and two, on what basis should that message box come. So there will be a system formula which will flash the message and a logical condition that if the condition is true, the message will be flashed. So notify at date of joining less than books beginning. So we have the system formula, and the condition is that the current value, if it is less than, now we want to validate the books beginning period of the company object. So at company object we have a method called books from. So we will say dollar books from the company object. Which company? Current company. Right. So now let us just execute and check our date of joining FTF4, and our book beginning is from 1st April 2009, right? So we'll go to agent info and we try to provide a date as 1st April 2008. So our dollar value books beginning from the company object, and we need to create this system formula. So system formula date of joining is less than books beginning of company. So now we will check. So we have provided our system formula. This does not require a double at because it is going to expect a system formula. In system formula we have provided date of joining is less than the books of beginning company, and the condition that the current value should be less than the books from company. So let us just check in the agent info. We give 31st 3 2008. See, date of joining is less than the books of beginning company, yet it is allowing us to proceed further. Or we say 1st 4 2009, it will allow because we have said less than. So now if I make 31st 3 2009, it will give the warning message. So this is only the warning message. Then we have a control at field level. Now this control definition, the control attribute is a combination of validate and notify. What does validate do? It simply gives you the message. It simply blocks the field and does not allow you to go further. Whereas notify gives you the message but allows you to proceed further. When it comes to control, it's a combination of both. It gives you the message as well as does not allow you to proceed further. Now, no company would give a commission or to their agent form of more than say 15%. So here should be a control that control high commission. So what is the, and that the current value is greater than dollar number 50. And in this system formula we will mention so in the system formula we will mention commission specified is higher than 15%. So that's what we are going to block. So let us check now. FTF4 2 allows, 0 allows, -1 allows, 15 allows, but the moment you give 16, you see, does not allow your cursor to go further, and it also provides you the message. So max to max you can give this, and here it is not allowing you to go further. End of list. So that's what it allows. At your date, since it's type number, you can provide format, and you can say no zero, so zeros shouldn't be considered, and whatever it is, it should have percentage. You notice it's a comma separated value, so we'll just refresh this and you can see the change. You notice this? So here if I give now 15 allows, if I try to give 18 doesn't allow. So similarly you can reverse the logic. If the value is less than say 4%, say we can give one more control here itself and say low commission that the current value is less than say 3%. I mean, at least the company will give 3%. So if it is less than 3%, it will get blocked. And we need to provide this system formula. Yeah. Commission specified is less than 3%. T4 refresh agent. You see this? It is not allow less than 3. 3 allows and does not allow greater than 15. So 16 isn't allowed, or 2 isn't allowed. So anything ranging from 3 to 15 is allowed here. Right? So this is what we have for validations and controls. Similarly, we have control at form level, where you can specify that if the value, if the number of agents specified in this report is less than 5. So at form level, you can give a control that the number of agents specified are less. So you can give your kind of control at your form level. Then menu level also we have a control. It restricts the display of the menu item based on the condition, and it makes the menu inactive. The menu is inactive. For example, right now agent info is active. Now say at F11 accounting features, this is set to no. If this is set to no, then agent info should be inactive, right? So for that we can provide a control at the menu level. So what we can do is, this is our menu. Here we will say control. Control what? So it will say item name. So what is our item name? Agent info. Okay. When what are the criteria to control? That if the enable agent module at company object for #sv current company is equal to no, then control it. So what we will do is, we'll just refresh FTF4 F11 accounting features. So you see this, it is not there. So F11 accounting, yes, it is there. F11 accounting features, no, it is not there. So that is what the control does. It removes that entire option from that menu. Extended menu level security. Now what does this do? The agent info is removed from here. Now say accounting features, we have activated it. We can give a condition instead of giving control here. We can give this condition at this level itself, and we can just remove the control. So F11 accounting features, module no. You see it is grayed out because it is set to no. So it is inactive. So when you mention here at the extended menu level, the item becomes inactive. If you mention it at the control level, it makes it invisible. Now say you do not want to make it visible or invisible based on that, but you want to make it you do not want to make it visible or invisible based on active or inactive, but based on whether the user is allowed to give that or not. So what we will have to do is, this report that we have, this agent info, this report that we have to add it to the security list. So one simple thing that you will have to do to add this report to security list, all you have to do is family agent master. You write this here, quit your tally, restart, select company, Alt F3, security control, types of security. In the data entry, we just do one thing, we'll create a new security list. Let's say DE owner, basic facilities of owner, and disallow alter of agent master. You see this? Disallow agent master. And users and passwords, here we will just create a new user under DE owner, and we say DE. So right now I have agent info activated, and the condition is mentioned at the security level. So Alt F1, select DD, agent info, you try to enter, no access allowed. So this is what it does when you provide family attribute at your reports level. It adds the report to the security list, and based on allow and disallow, it gives the name of that report into the security list. And that's all what we have for the actions that we have in user-defined actions in TDL. We made interactive reports, user-defined fields, we created an entire module on agent, and we created new securities, validations and controls. So that's all what we have for today, for now. Thank you. For further queries, do write to our support desk at support.tallydeveloper@tallysolutions.com.